So, Rishi Sunak. Dishy Rishi. The multi-millionaire new Prime Minister. The man who was unfortunate to get filmed talking about how he was taking money from well-off communities, from badly off communities, to give them to well-off communities. He's obviously going to be able to understand the plight of working class people. When I say working class, I'm including people on benefits as well, not just people that are actually working. Took £20 COVID relief off people as soon as he thought he could get away with it. And the one that I never understood until much later, in fact just till recently, eat out to help out. Well, help out what? Help out get COVID, I suppose. Led to a lot of people getting sick, didn't it? Rishi doesn't have working class friends. He only has middle class and rich friends. I'm sure everybody's seen the film. Got working class, well, not working class friends. No, of course you don't. The only good thing that I can think of that he's done, the only good thing that I can think of that he's supposedly done, is to stab Boris Johnson in the back. Unfortunately, he didn't get through the blubber, did he? Because Boris wanted to come back. I suppose we can be thankful for small mercies. So, Rishi Sunak, the new PM, who follows, let his head, Liz Truss. So what's he promising? Supposed to be making the NHS a lot better, police force. How's he going to finance it? Well, how is he going to finance it? By making cuts. What cuts are you going to make? Cuts the NHS and the police force? Public services, generally? Public transport? Whatever happened to the high wage, low tax promise that these Tories brought in? What about high wages for nurses, carers, rail workers? Down to the lowest of the low. Those people that clean up your bubble gum and trash that you leave on the trains. What about them getting high wages? And what about other low paid workers? Does it make sense that people work for low wages and then does it make sense that people go to work for low wages and then have to get it topped up by benefits, universal credit? Does that make sense? Doesn't it make more sense that people earn a decent wage that they can live on instead of having to top it up with benefits? And who are these high wage earners that are going to be? People like Rishi Sunak, his mates? It's not going to be the likes of you and me. What's all this talk about growth? What are these Tories going to grow with? And with what? People living on benefits? If the Tories could tax food banks, I'm sure they would. I'm talking about food banks. That's about the only thing that is growing, the number of food banks. And when your bus service gets cut, how do you get to work? You can't afford to buy a car, so you can't get to work. You have to go on benefits. People start losing their jobs, the government takes less tax in, and they're spending more on benefits. Where is the sense in all this? You know, maybe you'll be the next one that gets caught out on this one. You can't get to work for some reason. Your mortgage has gone up, you can't afford to buy your car, you have been driving on the bus, now the bus isn't there, you can't go to work. What are you going to do? You have to leave your job. You go on benefits, then you'll be able to see how well benefit scroungers live. And what about that house that you've been paying for the last 20 years? It's nearly paid for, but now you can't pay for it, and you lose it. And you're going to vote for Tories again. Yesterday, I read a comment on YouTube, and it says, what would it take for people to start protesting in the streets? How far can the government go in taking things away before it backfires? That's just one of many similar ones I've read recently. This question you should be asking yourself. What would it take for me to start protesting? How many of these people who write these generic questions on YouTube support the rail strikes or have complained about the rail strikes or the communication strikes and so on? Are these people also union members? Of course they're not, because unions are militant scum and the Tories tell us so. Why don't they write to their Tory MP? They could put a placard in their front window. Why should others start the protests and yet they don't want to start one themselves? Who fought for sick pay, holiday pay, workers' rights? The Tories? Nah. The unions did that. Those militant unions that you complain about because they're striking to get a decent wage that they can live on. What about a bonfire of EU laws? These people are going to bitch when they have to work 60 hours a week or lose their job because the employer says so. What about if your holidays get cut because that's an EU law? These people should go join a union and stop complaining that other people aren't protesting enough. Rishi Sunak, the new unelected Tory PM. Next election, use your vote wisely and get the Tories out. If you don't have a photo ID, such as a driving licence, a concessionary pass or passport, apply to your local council for a free voter card. They have to supply you one free of charge by law. The cost is covered by the Cabinet Office. You can also apply for a postal vote with your local council, and if you lived abroad less than 15 years and were registered to vote in the UK, you can also register as an overseas voter.